Billiken fans, welcome back. It is Zach Miller and Peter Hale. It's the Midtown Madness Podcast. Before we get going, thank you all so much for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, as well as the bell icon. Get notified whenever we drop a new episode. Of course, we need to start off this episode with a huge thank you. First of all, to anyone who has supported us by supporting Two Men in a Garden these past few years. I've mentioned it now 4 or 5 times that they are back for the 25-26 season of the Midtown Madness Podcast. We can't thank Joel and his team enough for keeping the lights on over here at the Midtown Madness. They are the St. Louis Salsa and Pickle Company, bringing you everything from mild to screaming hot salsa, including mango, hot mango, sugar-free, plus pickles from classic dill to smoky barbecue. Visit them online at twomeninthegarden.com to shop your favorite flavors and learn more about Kitchen Hub STL. Don't forget to follow them on social media as well, at Two Men Salsa on Instagram and Twitter for the latest updates. Pete, it turned into a big week. I mean, I figured it would be a big week. Homecoming, fireworks at halftime. And then we got fireworks at the final whistle. And Pete, I want to talk about that. But first, I need to mention and apologize for the technical difficulties last week with the audio. The music, our intro music, when I did some housekeeping on my laptop and accidentally deleted the files. So big thank you to Frank Ladd, pet band. He's a pet band legend for tracking down the files for Saints and sending them over. But Pete, I do want to talk about that scuffle up after the final whistle of the homecoming matchup, because I'm shocked that apparently this is newsworthy. How did this get on local news?
Yeah, this was a surprise to me too, Zach. I learned about this 3 minutes ago when you told me. I've been out most of the day and tonight, and just had to rush to get back from the FC Cincinnati game before we record this. And you're the one who told me that it was on local news. So I just pulled up that link and I'm watching their view of it now. And yeah, I was ready. I knew that because I turned it off right when it ended. Right when the game ended, I didn't see, the scuffle and everything. And so I had looked at the box score later and saw that there was a bit of a fight and there were 2 red cards, but that's it. I was like, oh, okay. So there was some, after the whistle extracurriculars, no big deal. That happens. But I didn't know it was an all-out brawl. That really surprised me.
That's news to me that it was an all-out brawl.
Yeah,
I mean, it was. The funny thing is, it's because I was literally not gonna. I was not even gonna talk. It was going to be a footnote at the end of the conversation,
right?
And it was humorous. It still is humorous, but the funniest thing about this is it's on a segment called "Caught on Camera." Which is hilarious to say about that's something you would say about you saw it at a girls' high school soccer game and it was caught on camera or
caught on camera. This game was broadcast.
Track and yes, yeah.
I think of caught on camera I don't know.
It shouldn't be on camera.
You're at a restaurant and you find some employee doing something gross. Somebody who has no reason to believe that they're on camera, but this happened on a field. On a game that was just on a streaming service, so they have every reason to think they're on camera. You didn't really catch it. You just left the cameras rolling.
The funniest, another just outstanding part of this is it's credited to Anonymous. They got it from an anonymous. So who's afraid that they're passing this video along? So is the only reason this is news is because the credit is to Anonymous because the person taking the video works at the news station? I can't think of any good reason, or I'd be like, sure, at Midtown Madness Podcast, whatever, or at Zach Miller MMP. I don't care. It's my video. It's not that big of a deal. It was a fight. I've seen this millions of times in sports. This happens every night.
So we know that the footage was captured by a KPVI employee?
No, but that's the point.
Don't.
Like, absolutely not. We don't. But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Who's reporting this as who's anonymous? Why is it anonymous? Right. It's not some corrupt politician you've got audio on.
Right.
It doesn't.
I can't have this getting back to me.
That's the only reason. That would be weird if it was caught on camera and the person who submitted it was that wouldn't work. I don't know. That'd be weird.
Very strange.
But it wasn't also in the general direction of the Billiken Club tent. Not the was it the Billiken Club? Alumni. It was the alumni tent, I think. I don't know.
You're right, because it was shot from the end of the stadium. It wasn't shot from one of the
whatever. Well, I'm just not even sure what the specific purpose of the tent is, but it's the fancy tent where they have all the booze.
Oh yeah, okay. So
I'm just saying I don't know if it's alumni. I don't know if it's Billiken Club. I don't know what it is.
It's the north end, right? So
the West Pine end. The West Pine end.
From where you're looking, you're looking down at Laclede where the scoreboard is, where their locker rooms are, that the new soccer facility at that. You're looking at that end. So it's not being shot from like where the clubhouse is. It's being shot from that tent, and it's like behind a fence or whatever. There's really not much to the video that you just from a distance. There's a scuffle,
and I'm not I just find it funny. I'm not trying to make it's not. I don't really want to There's no reason to make a thing about it. It's just really dumb that Fox 2 or whoever put what's the point? Like this is just everyday shit. This is nothing. Yeah,
kind of lame.
This is what I did find weird was a TPS officer was out there, and I'm just saying, like nobody entered the field that wasn't supposed to. That was behind the ropes. Like it wasn't a fight in the stands. I don't know if we need a TPS officer out there. I don't. I don't think anybody needs to be crossing the rope. Does that let me land on that?
Sure. Yeah. Of course not. Yeah. Never.
I mean, that's kind of how you have to set the rule. I feel like where rules get broken and people are like, you have to have that rule. Like it's gonna only be applicable, but like I just think I don't think we need anybody crossing the rope.
You're saying for player on player violence on the field, you don't need cops intervening.
I don't need administrators, cops. Like you need coaches. Like the coaches need to be in there first. Like it's not. There's no weapons on the field. There's nothing. Like, I mean, this isn't the WWE. They're not correct. They don't have a kendo stick. They don't have brass knuckles in their underwear. Right.
That we know of.
Yeah, I don't know. It just is. I don't want to go down that road, but like, come on, it's a pushing and shoving match, and guys are going down because it's I get it. Look, this is it's the Billiken Athletics. They had the VCU stuff, so like overcautious, and by all means, like I would err on that side. I'm just saying. Also, Janet Oberly in the middle of another fight. That's funny. And
other staffers too, right?
Jordan Neisler was cool because he's coming out there to film. Yeah, and then the fight goes off, and he's like pulling back Abenel. Just very funny. Shout out Jordan Neisler, one of the best in the biz. That is just a weird scene that appeared to be nothing. Like I think having DPS out there and having administrator, like I think that probably ended up with it on the news because of that.
It's just more people.
Yeah,
you're making it look bigger. Like
it
DPS,
looks bigger than it is. Yes,
DPS should be making sure like no more people run on the field, right? Like
that would be my opinion.
Somebody's overzealous parent or something runs out there or something like that. Like that's the thing that you need to. I don't know. I figure, player on player with coaches, let them sort it out.
Yeah.
The last place I want to be.
That's why you have red cards. That's why you have suspensions. That's why there are rules. That's why there are rules within the framework of which we are competing in exists, because we don't need there's an agreement. And yes, if something enters the field of play from outside, by all means,
Right.
But all right, Billiken Madness, Pete. I had a humorous story, but I'll say this: I am an unabashed fan of wearing tank tops. We all know that. With my knee surgery, I've had to wear a knee sleeve. They've advised, because of swelling, keep it just wear. And I got to tell you, like, I understand that I look like a dork in a basketball jersey. That's fine. I've come to terms with it, right? Come to terms with it. Don't care. What I will say is adding a knee sleeve has really hampered my ability to wear tank tops, because to a point now I'm looking a little too try hard.
Yeah, you're the guy at the Y who, right, who's out there a little over aggressive, right?
Yeah, I mean, even if I'm just walking in public, like I have to throw on flip flops just to be like, hey guys, look, no, I'm just chill. Like I'm not here. I'm chill. I'm not.
It's a combination. The try hard's a good way to put it. It's like, I'm sorry your athletic career didn't work out, and that you're taking it out on everyone in this pickup game. But like,
I'm wearing
the jersey cut with the knee sleeve. It's like, guy, calm down.
Yeah. Yes, I look. Yep. Anyway, it's hurting my ability to wear something like Billiken Madness. I want it, or Homecoming. Can't do it. And it was a little warm. But Billiken Madness, Pete, this was I got nothing here, man. No notes really on this one.
You texted me. There are very few things I would have done differently tonight. They nailed this for the most part, and knocked me over with a feather, because Zach, I'm not used to you giving 5 stars to the athletic department.
Yeah, it was, it's one of those things where I think there's room for improvement. I think there's a weird relationship with these events and the production level. You could sometimes the attendance informs the level of production, and just everything's made to be a big deal. And when you have a smaller crowd like they did, you can it can look like you're really trying hard to make it look like there's a ton of people there. And, I thought they hit the right notes. I thought it didn't seem, you can try too hard. You really can.
Sure.
And I thought they hit the mark 100%. I might've done a little more, maybe with the getting kids involved with things that were going on. There wasn't a whole lot of inaction to the event. The band was there. They sat where the visiting fans would sit, which is ironic, because we just discussed fighting among the VCU. The student section was pushed back. It was rolled back, and lines of tables with black tablecloths were there. Slew Dance did a couple of routines. They had the scoreboards down low. They had a big curtain back up there, so I liked that. It made it was signal. You got to cover that up if it's an event. So for any other event with that rolled back, they would put a curtain in. So I'm like, yes, that's what you do. So I thought everything was good. I mean, they had the concession stands were all open. I liked, so anyway, Slew Dance did a couple routines. They introduced both the teams, lights out, spotlight. And then during downtime, which I thought this was a great move, Colin Surrey conducted interviews with players and coaches. And that, kind of the worst, I think, part was kind of between the women and men finishing, like the women finishing and the men starting. It was just kind of weird, and I don't know. So the women had to find a place to sit, and that was really it. That was the only thing, otherwise outstanding event. It was exactly what I was calling for. I certainly think, you know, eh, no notes,
Yeah,
no
that's great to
real
hear.
notes. Yeah, no,
So,
I
so
just
the good news is, Zach, with no notes, we can talk about basketball.
oh,
And
I took no notes. I
I
also
I know you
uh,
took no notes, but like before we get into some of the other notes that I read from Stu and Timmerman and various people online, I want to get your general observations of the team. You know, who stood out? What'd you see? What are not taking any notes? Perfectly fine. I know you're a vibes guy. Vibes, but I just want to hear your sort of general impressions of the play itself, and let's start with the men. We can go over the women at the end of the segment.
yeah, I do I got me excited, man.
Mhm.
It got me interested in what this team is going to do. I think everybody looks really good. I thought, obviously Dunlap really stood out to me. Um, I love seeing Kellen Thames out there. Honestly, that was big for me. I really like Jax Kerr. I
Hmm.
think Jax Kerr is uniquely athletic, and I don't know, Rob Lowe, man, uh, uh,
Yeah,
very
the
Rob Lowe-ish.
consensus that every time people get eyes on him, it's kind of like, hey, look, even if he's not going to be a big factor this year, we need to hang on to this kid. Like he's
Yeah.
the first big in a while where people are like, we cannot lose him, right?
Mhm.
Because we definitely with those young bigs, they cycle through. They're more likely to leave than they are to stay. But we need to hang on to this one. It sounds like.
Yeah, I do I agree. I thought Badera looked really good. I don't know if that was a Ross Varner moment, but yeah, I mean, look, again, no notes on this one. I thought I didn't really notice Trey Green.
Yeah. Yep. So basically what we had heard there, or that I had read, is that Green and Avila really did not stand out, right? Like they didn't play great. Shirts acknowledged as much in a post event interview, but really. One of the advantages to as much depth as this team has is that like you can kind of overcome a game against most opponents, let's say, when those guys aren't at their best. And sometimes you're just going to have that, but we've got shooters all over the floor. But when you're playing yourself, it's a little bit different, right? Because the guys who would be picking up the slack for them are the ones trying to score on them. So I
Yeah,
know it's a little weird in that case, but yeah, with those two in particular, I don't think there was a whole lot to say about what people saw.
yeah. Hey, look, if our guys can beat the shit out of Avila and Green in a scrimmage, that's better for us.
It is good. It is
Because
good.
we know Avila is a great player,
Yep.
despite what you may think. I think Robbie Avila is a great player.
Yeah,
So
you were a
unless
little high on
unless
him.
unless some little aliens came and stole his talent in the off season, like I mean, if Jax Kerr is playing him straight up really well, I thought Anya looked good. Anya made
Mhm.
some plays. I've been a big critic of his. We didn't shoot. I didn't see him shoot a free throw because I did have to leave. That was a whole thing. But
Well, hopefully we don't have to see him shoot many free throws in general. It's just not his game. But the
yeah,
fact that Anya is more of like he's I don't want to call him a role player or a depth piece, but he's not the guy you're
uh,
relying on to be
he's
a starting
Corey
big.
Remican.
Sure. Yeah. Well, except Bremican was a starter, right? I mean, Otieno just makes Anya's role so much different. Like Anya
Sure.
did lead us in three major categories last season, including rebounding. So he's a crucial player, no
He's a
matter what,
DJ Foreman.
no matter where in the depth chart he is. Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, he's more. He's not just a Rashid Anthony, right? Who's like a practice player and a
God, I
leader,
liked Rashid Anthony.
but he wasn't a guy who played much. He's gonna he's gonna
Sure.
he's gonna play more than that. He's more important than that. But yeah, I read good things about him too, and if he can just kind of play his big but reduced from last year role, yeah, I think he's going to be crucial for us this year.
Um, talk about some highlights from Stu Durando of Stu on
Yeah,
Slew on
so
Substack.
Stu, I'm going to be careful because I don't want to say too much, but what he put out there publicly, in the first half, he said Kellen Thames was very active, scored 6 points. Diakite blended well and scored 7. Dion Brown did a little bit of everything with a couple assists, getting to the line and hitting a 3. And then he said Amari McCautry looked good, especially taking it to the basket and distributing. And then he said through 2 12-minute halves, Amari McCautry gets my vote for the best player on the floor. He had 12 points, at least 4 assists, and got to the basket consistently better than any Billiken. He put player-by-player observations on his Substack, but rather than give you all those, we're going to leave it behind the paywall and encourage you to subscribe. Tom Timmerman, meanwhile, according to
Pete,
they must
hold
have
on.
been.
Hold on. I do want to talk about Kellen Thames because he got 3 for a wide open dunk, and that guy got up.
Yeah,
That guy got up there. I'm
yeah.
ready. I'm ready for the Kellenaissance.
The breakout season that we've all been.
I'm
waiting
ready for it. I told you all he was 100%.
Yeah,
I told you all he was back. I'm just
with
reminding you. I'm just reminding you.
It's almost one of those things, Zach, that now we have so many guys who can play and so much depth. It's almost like I just really wish this were last season that he had his big breakout when we didn't have that depth, when we really needed him.
Yes.
Because we didn't have as much depth because after 6 or 7 things got pretty shaky last season. So that's the only thing that bums me out is that he's not like a returning core veteran player, that he's a guy who just we haven't seen his full potential realized because he's been ill out.
I mean, and the cure apparently is just more electrolytes. Guys, if that's the
Who was saying that?
There's a whole industry for this, guys. There's a whole industry.
Who was saying that afterwards? He was sitting there with like 2 waters and 2 Gatorades or something like that. Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole industry. I can name like 5 companies right off the bat that offer fuel and hydration products that are targeted against high sweat or high salt, high. I can't.
Sure. We'll just stick with hydration.
Yes.
Hydration systems.
Yes.
Yeah, super excited for Thames. According to Timberman, he said that he and Stu kept stats. Brady Dunlop was the top scorer with 19, hitting 5 3-pointers. It just feels, Zach, like even on nights where like your top 2 guys are, second and fourth guy or whatever, like there's always somebody who's going to be hitting, right? We've got so many shooters that it's hard to envision a night where everybody's just off. I mean, hey, we're Slew. We'll find a way.
Yes. What do you hear yourself talk?
We've never had this many shooters. We really have not. So then Dion Brown had 16, Kellen Thames had 14, logged a lot of minutes, which is to me the most important part for him. McCautry did end up with 12 and looked good on both ends of the court. So yeah, very, very promising, I would say. Even if it's not the names you expected to be leading necessarily.
Let's talk about some kind of reactions from Discord and Billikens.com. Billiken Mike, Jax Kerr has shown a ton of potential, blocking at least 3 shots. That was also, he did block I think one of Avila's first attempts, a layup. He hit a couple threes. He pulled up in transition for one of them. Dion Brown is going to be a nightmare for teams off the bench. Dion Brown got a lot of praise.
He did.
Also, I did run into Josh Schertz. I mentioned like the personality. I talked to him at the soccer game, and I mentioned the personalities on the team and how I thought Brady Dunn. I told him about my all like A10 villains that there are A10 villains on this roster.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that, I thought Brady Dunlap, like he was just going to be one of the
Oh
guys that
yeah.
are, and he's like Deion Brown. He said Deion Brown.
Interesting. Yeah, so Brown, he was one of those guys where you look at his background, right? And he was a starter for an ACC team. And if you just told me that, like a starter for an ACC team, their number 4 guy coming over to SLU, you'd think like, okay, that's a guy who's got real potential, right? But like looking at everybody and what they do, Brown just kind of struck me as like, oh, he could be the odd man out here. Like he just like, I wasn't as high on him as some of the others coming in. And then when he had that little knee thing that had to get taken care of, and because he's only right now coming back from that, he was just cleared a week or two for full contact and scrimmage and everything, coming back from having his knee cleaned up a little bit.
Oh, okay. That was Deion Brown. Why
Yeah,
didn't think that was
earlier
somebody
this
else?
summer. Yeah. So then he comes back and like all of a sudden everybody's raving about him. And like the coaches are going out of their way to talk about like what it is that he brings to the roster that's a little bit different. And I'm really liking those things because it sounds like a lot of the things that he does well are a lot of the things that we kind of, maybe don't have in some of the other guys so much. He's a really good rebounding guard, for example. That was one of the initial selling points on him. So I'm just really excited about what he brings, and it sounds like he's a little bit more attitude than I realized. A little bit more personality, a little bit more like you're just saying right now, like the guy who's gonna mix it up, who's just tough, who's mentally tough. And I think that's one of those things that we certainly were missing last year, but is going to be the way that he sees the floor this year.
Sorry, I was looking up when he had surgery, and mostly for my own selfish interest with my knee. But let's talk about what the Wiz had to say.
Yeah, so I'm going to paraphrase here because he wrote quite a bit, but he said they're better than they were in the July practice. They're starting to gel despite some rough edges that still need some smoothing out. This team is better than last year's team. The biggest difference is the depth. That's really that word right there. Depth it came up every time you read anything from anyone, basically. And the biggest change that depth gives you is speed, right? Like you have the ability to play a lot faster when you can sub a lot deeper onto your bench.
Yeah, you look at Kalish.
Brown looks.
You look at that Kalish soccer team.
Yeah,
his teams when he's had that depth and he
exactly
can
right.
run that high press. They really.
Yep.
And when he has skill, and when he has talent.
Right. Brown looks good coming off a knee injury. Should be also more entertaining. He said that Diakite was a surprise standout, and a few other people have said that as well. So. Yeah, he was the 15th guy, Zach, but it's one of those things like another year you could see a guy like that maybe playing his way into a role.
If we start developing guys like that, I mean, if we start developing bigs, we have not developed bigs in forever. Some of that by design. I mean, it's just not, and some of that by it's just not going to happen in today's game. But Sharma, I like Sharma. I think Sharma is an interesting guy. He doesn't, he doesn't really, his body type doesn't say basketball player. And I think he's going to be another A10 villain that people just don't like because he just doesn't look like physically, like build wise, a basketball player.
What would you say he looks like physically then? Like, is there another
More
sport
football guy? I mean, more of a football guy. He's just. He just doesn't. I don't know. He
interesting.
Doesn't. Yeah, I don't know, man. He just kind of. Well, he just looks like a guy who likes to work out. Like that's what he looks like. He looks like a dude who's just like.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no like.
Just yeah.
It's just not. I don't know. He just looks like a guy you would see at Simon Reck in a cut off tank top. Like it's cut off shirt.
Always thinking about those tank tops.
Yeah,
sure. The other thing that makes him a candidate for A10 villain is a lot of for whatever reason, high volume 3-point shooters always seem to be kind of villains. I think I think because they're the guys who either go off against your team or they're the guys who are like, if they're off, they're easy to yell at, like if they're like 3 for 11 or something like that.
God damn it, Jimerson.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like Cody Ellis the night that he went 0 for 15 at Xavier.
What?
And
I pushed that out of my head.
And I had really good seats for that game. And so I'm sitting down there in the 100s, like in the middle, really nice seats that I shouldn't have had, with a friend, and was beside myself. And everyone around us was turning to me and being like, why is he shooting so much? Has he ever shot a 3 before? And I was just like, leave me alone. Anyway, so there's a guy with a blue streak in his hair going over 15 from 3, and the students were just lapping that up. That's a really long way of saying Sharma's volume shooting is another thing that's going to make him a little bit of a target.
Hold on, now this is I smell a lawsuit coming from Cody Ellis. He went 0 for 11. All right,
0 for 11 from 3.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, he went over. Oh, he did go. Never mind. Sorry, Cody. No lawsuit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that was
Zach. Wow.
I'm so traumatized. That was off the top of the dome here, Zach. I'm not. I didn't look that up.
Why? Hey, he went 4 for 5 from the line, bro.
And we barely lost that game. Like, that was a really hard-fought, close game that we lost at Xavier that I really wanted. I was there with a friend. I was there, and then, like, a couple sessions over, my wife, both of her parents were there. Her mom never goes. She goes to 1 game a year. She was at that game.
You're the type of guy that's going to hold Rob Lowe accountable for losing against Michigan State.
I mean,
because he airballed 2 threes.
Rob and I have not spoken since then, so... Yeah. Tell me.
That's sad. That's depressing.
It is.
Wait, he hasn't come on the show, has he?
No, he hasn't.
I don't even know how to find him.
Like, I want to talk New Zealand with him. I want to go back to New Zealand was like my favorite place.
Should we hold on? Can we get somebody to pay for us to go to New Zealand and interview Rob Lowe? That's
an expensive interview, but I would do it in a heartbeat.
I would take one for Billiken Nation. I will wear the heavy as the crown.
Mm-hmm.
I will take that responsibility.
I'll reactivate my Qantas account and and see if those miles from 2008 are still fresh.
Oh God, where are we?
So White Pelican, a couple notes from him. Like many others, he pointed out the shot making from Sharma and Dunlap. He said Thames looked good too. And a couple of people said it sounds like the second 5 basically beat the starters in this game. Do I have that right, Zach?
I don't remember, dude.
Okay, they may have mixed up the rosters a little bit during. I know that they sometimes flip jersey colors or whatever, but really that's probably the result of Avila and Green being off. We didn't get the biggest performance out of Otieno either, and then Jones, he made some shots, but it sounds like he was forcing things a bit too much. He did play a lot of point guard though. I think all these guys were fine. They just weren't standouts, didn't have their best performances, and we've seen it other times. Like Jones during that July practice, it was one of those where I don't think he missed a 3 until the very end. Like, he was unconscious shooting the ball in that. So, like, we know what these guys can do. It just wasn't necessarily their day.
Yeah, I thought this team looks good, man. Not a lot. I don't know. I think this team's going to be good. It's just what can we do against the schedule? Let's see. What is the schedule? What's it do for us?
It's a really good point. We've got a lot of great players. We've got a really high ceiling, but we've already talked about there's a razor's edge this season in terms of how many losses they can take, and if they get into the tournament, they're not going to be rewarded with a good seed. So
I'm ready to be hurt, Pete.
I'm ready to be prepared. Yep, we have to be prepared for that. 2 more notes, and then we'll flip to the women's side. Billiken Roy, shout out Billiken Roy.
Shout out Billiken Roy.
He said we finally have a team that's going to run, and he's a little worried about them defensively. And then who's your pal, another guy who's a little polarizing over at Billikens.com, said Thames was the
Apparently.
one who made him happiest to watch. Just seeing him out there, healthy, getting big minutes, finishing. You know, I wanted to quote both of those guys, Zach, just to see if I got a reaction out of you.
Sure. Why not? They're
All right,
Billiken.
so why don't we talk about the women's team?
Billikens.com, man. Billikens.com. Yeah, the women's team, man. Not a lot. I don't really know what is happening. I mean, they have 11 players. They had 13 scholarship players. Laisha Lazu decided to leave. Ellie Paluchek is going to join when the soccer season is over. There is not a lot here. I mean, we're talking under like 2 injuries, and we're like really hurting.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think somebody said one of the bigs did not play. One of the 6'5" players that transfers from Triantafili, I believe.
Yeah,
She didn't play.
that's odd.
Or she played limited minutes or something like that. I don't know. I wasn't there. Anyway, one of the bigs who did get good marks, the 6'6" freshman, Alyssa Korkenmeyer, people really touted her inside presence and long-term upside, assuming we can retain her in this day and age. She's not a great finisher yet, but her shot blocking and altering should be there. The rebounding should be there. She made some shots in mid-range. I think she hit her free throw. So there's a lot to like about her long-term upside for the program.
Not a lot of shot making in this one. Mia Bergstrom, probably the best shooter on this team. I mean, just out of sheer reputation.
Yeah.
She looked good at times. Hannah Wallace had some moments. She got to talk to Colin, to the crowd. So that was nice. I really don't know what we're going to get out of the women this year. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't either. Stu recently had a piece about how they should be improved defensively, but that's not saying much. They were terrible defensively last year. Wallace is one of the key pieces there, coming back. She's a returner, and she's going to be one of the key defenders. She's clearly going to be a starter on this team. But yeah, Zach, it's there's just nothing but question marks really outside of the couple returners who we know.
Let's talk about the basketball schedule, the men's basketball schedule. A10 schedule, Pete, released Thursday, September 25th. We're gonna start out. Let's go point by point here. We start out with a New Year's Eve date with St. Joe's.
That's a fun first one, Zach.
The Billy Langless, Billy Langless St. Joe's, the listless athletic department that apparently is St. Joe's. What in God's name is going on over there?
From what I'm hearing, it sounds like the roster is pretty much going to stay, at least so far. It's been, a week or two, and nobody's left yet from what I know. They've got that 30-day window. So I guess they're more or less going to be the same. They do have some talent. We'll see if their new coach is less likely to burn that talent than Billy Lang was. But yeah, I like that for a game opener, a home game against St. Joe's. I like that matchup for a first one. That should be fun.
This schedule wastes no time getting down to business. VCU at VCU, January 7th. We'll get to it later, but this is a weeknight game. Sorry, I said that. This is also a point that I want to take note of is that this is a weeknight game on the road.
It is. Yes.
So we'll get there.
We'll there.
We'll put a pin in that. Pete, should we go to Philly January 10th? I feel like this, if we have yet to do a true Midtown Madness road game.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like the new Tom Gola arena would be the perfect opportunity for this.
Bring your swimsuit. Bring
Yes, yeah, my
you've got
Speedo.
the swim
I'm gonna
cap
bring
and
the
everything
Speedo
too.
and this. Yeah, I'm
Right.
gonna bring the
You
goggles.
can do some time
I
trials
might
down
bring
there.
my snorkel. Maybe
Might as
a
well.
ring. Maybe a
Might as
ring.
well. Yeah,
Yeah.
goggles, everything.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
So yeah. I think the issue, Zach, is there just aren't many other options for road trips. Quite
No,
frankly.
there's not. No,
Yeah.
there's not. Wednesday, January 14th, though, the Billikens will be back home against the Fordham Rams. This will be the first time in 2 seasons that we see the Fordham Rams here in St. Louis.
Yeah. And then after that, January 17th against Richmond, back to back, those could be the two worst teams in the league. So you'd like to think that after, in those first 5 games, you have the road game at LaSalle, but I'm looking at those first 5, and obviously I'd like to be 5-0. Realistically, 4-1 though, as a
Yes.
start to the season, seems reasonable. VCU is not a place we win at, generally speaking.
Did we finally win last season?
No.
No, we
At
didn't.
VCU?
Okay.
No, we did not.
Piss.
Yeah, I know. So
Okay.
I'm hoping this is the year, but VCU I think is really talented. If I were forced to pick right now, I may give them, the 1 seed over SLU, just because I think they're really, really good. But I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I hope they suck. I think a lot of Billiken fans probably do.
Mhm.
Let's see. Richmond games at home. I was going to ask you about a road trip to Richmond because finally it would be on a Saturday.
I know. Yeah, no, I've gone to the Richmond game before on the road a couple years ago. Unfortunately, like you said, VCU's on a weeknight. So going to visit my brother this season is going to be, I don't think SLU basketball is going to be part of it.
The Billikens head to the Bluff January 20th. That's a Tuesday night.
Yeah, at Duquesne that night, and then Friday night at St. Bonaventure. Those are only a couple hours apart, and it's not like there's an interstate that connects them, but that's got to be a single trip. So it seems like that was very much kept in mind, for that reason, right? Like that's going to be one leg up there and back, because otherwise Bonaventure's a tricky road trip, as we all know.
Tuesday, January 27th, the Billikens will host maybe the most intriguing program teams. I don't say programs because we're talking specifically in the season. George Washington, a bit of an enigma.
Yeah. Look, I went to the road game there last season. I really like Castro. I think they've got some other nice pieces, and they've added on this year. Like they lost a couple guys, but they're deeper. They're better this year for sure.
Friday, January 30th. Mark your calendars. It's game 1 of the Arch Baron Cup. And it's here in St. Louis at Chaifetz Arena. This one, it just means more. Anything for the cup.
It does. And it's on a Friday night too, Zach. It's on a Friday. Yes. I don't think that's Mardi Gras weekend, right? But
I don't think so.
At least it's a weekend. So we're hospitably welcoming, Dayton fans into our arena, right?
Yeah, we'll take your money. Tuesday, February 3rd, the Billikens head to Davidson.
Yeah, that's another one I was hoping would be a weekend because Charlotte's not a bad trip from here. Usually a pretty cheap nonstop flight or a 7-hour drive, which is doable. So either way, it's doable. But on a Tuesday, not so much. Probably not going to happen. But that Saturday, Zach, we are back in St. Louis to host LaSalle, one of the teams that we played twice this season.
That's random.
Yeah, we have kind of the extra home and home this year. So LaSalle is that, like, because ever since UMass left, right? Like we have one more. So they weren't going to give us like the 4 other best teams. So LaSalle just happens to be the other one in our pot of 5 home and homes.
Loyola, Friday, February 13th. At Loyola, this I I may be able to pull this off despite being in the doghouse from last Valentine's Day.
Kind of amazing.
I might be able to pull this off. Look, going to a basketball game in Chicago on Valentine's Day, and then not being able to go out after because it snowed like a mother, really put me in a bad spot. Not that it mattered because I just didn't care, but the game also stunk.
Yeah.
So that's on me if I let that carry up. That's fine. That's fine. The day before. This is a godsend to convincing to try this one more time.
Good luck, Zach. I put in the notes, what is the definition of insanity? But you do you. You go ahead and try that out. Valentine's
it's not
Day
going to end well.
My wife's birthday is the 12th, so Valentine's Day has never really been the thing for us. But yeah, that being her birthday weekend is what makes it more challenging for me.
Tuesday, February 17th at Rhode Island, and then they follow it up Friday, February 20th. Is Archie still at Rhode Island?
He is.
Holy, is this? Did they finally got the guys?
This is it. This is the season.
This is their year.
That's what they think. I'm really like at a loss, because I did kind of like, I was like, he's got to be on the hot seat, right? And so looked at what they brought in this year, and I'm just kind of like, okay, all right. I would say like 8th in the A10 would be them maybe overachieving a little bit.
Wow.
I don't think they're good. I just don't think they're good. But whatever. Maybe I'm wrong.
Then we come home and take on VCU February 20th. That's a Friday. Yeah. And that'll be a good, again, road or a home rivalry game on a weekend. Only to turn around and play the second half of the Arch Baron Cup on a weeknight, so we can't travel to Dayton, so it's harder to travel to Dayton.
Right. I will be there. I will be there.
Course, yeah.
I've like I said last year, the only Dayton game at Dayton that I've ever missed was, pandemic season. So like I'm there every year.
Me too.
I've seen the last, 10 losses, what is 11 losses in a row now that it's been brutal. With the exception of that one. So yeah, I'll be there, Zach. I'm gonna, I always leave work a little early that day, beat the traffic up 75 to Dayton, get in town, hit one of my few favorite spots there, and make my way over to the arena. But yeah, that's the highlights of my trip to Dayton has always been the dinner beforehand, and never the game itself, unfortunately.
And then Saturday, February 28th, against Duquesne here in St. Louis. And then Wednesday, March 4th will be the home game against Loyola. That is one that SLU gets on a weekend on the road, but the home is a weeknight. So I'll take that. And then Saturday, March 7th against the Ultimate Fraudsters, George Mason in Washington. George Mason's a fraud.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because I wondered if that was going to be one of the teams that we might play twice this season, but I think probably they're involved in enough other sort of more geographically favorable entanglements there, being in DC. So, I guess we're just not a priority for a home and home with them, but I don't know.
That's fine.
It's a Saturday. It's on the road. So, at least it's doable for fans.
The nationally televised games were also released that day. SLU will have at least 12 games on national television. The Billikens will play in 4 Friday night nationally televised games during the conference season at home against Dayton on January 30th, VCU February 20th, on the road against Bonaventure January 23rd, and then Valentine's Day, Loyola, Chicago. The day before Valentine's Day, Valentine's Day Eve. What are your reactions to? Oh, sorry. Were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
I was going to ask you what your reactions were.
No,
but
I'll go first. You first. I insist.
Yeah, so I think, Zach, this might be our worst schedule ever in terms of fan travel, right? Like, it feels like we say that every year, but I really think this might be it. So the road games here, you've got 2 Saturdays, 2 Fridays, 4 Tuesdays, and 1 Wednesday. Tuesday night, I don't think it gets any worse in terms of like what night of the week it could be to go on the road and see. And then the 1 Wednesday. Fridays are, of course, Valentine's Day, as we said, President's Day / my wife's birthday, selfishly. And then the other Friday is Bonaventure, which is a really hard trip. The Saturdays are LaSalle in the beginning of the season, and then George Mason at the very end of the season. And Mason, you're less likely to go to a road game the week before, a few days before the conference tournament starts, right? Like people are kind of banking their travel on that instead. And one of our most reasonable games to actually make is right before that. So that kind of irks me. Also selfishly, just playing once in Richmond and it's VCU on a weeknight is not favorable. Dayton and Duquesne are both on Tuesday nights. Those are the most drivable games for me. It drives me insane, which I've said every single year, that Duquesne is on a weeknight. That is at Duquesne. It is never on a weekend.
I mean, it's nobody wants to go to Pittsburgh for their weekend.
I mean, nobody wants to go to Olean, New York for the weekend. That's not really. It's not really up to. It's not like our players going, Pittsburgh's not cool on a weekend. It's not that. It's just like that's just how it shakes out every year for whatever reason. And I guess maybe they put a little more thought into like player travel, right? So the games that are a little bit closer to St. Louis, they tend to have on weeknights, at least lately. But I don't know, man. That drives me crazy. I guess the other thing that I would add there is that this is all in addition to the fact that we really only played one true road game in non-conference play, in addition to the Acrisure series over Thanksgiving. So those are all out in Southern California over the course of a week. I don't know if you've looked at flights for those dates, but they're really expensive from Cincinnati. So it's Thanksgiving travel. You're dealing with like airport nightmares. It's really expensive. Obviously not drivable. So it's just like there's the non-conference and conference schedules together give you almost no options for reasonable travel. And it's kind of a bummer because lately we've been doing like a friends trip. My class of 2005 SLU friends have been going to one game every year, George Washington last year, for example. And it's really hard to do this year. You mentioned LaSalle as being a possibility. That's kind of the one that for us is the most likely one too, You could also look at Mason, but again, that's right before conference tournaments, and then the NCAA tournament is 2 weeks after that game. So not ideal, man. Not ideal. And the other thing I will say is I looked at flights from St. Louis and Cincinnati for that LaSalle weekend, and for whatever reason, flights are high. Like they're like $440. Which for Cincinnati is kind of high. Like for a nonstop to Philadelphia, that's normally 2 something. I don't know why they're high that weekend. It would be the NFL wildcard weekend, but I can't think of anything else. So I just think we could have used a little bit more fan-friendly A10 schedule this season, given that the non-conference schedule didn't offer much for us. So I'm just a little bummed at the lack of opportunities there. Zach, what is your reaction to this schedule?
Please. I'm not a fan of the Friday night games. Yeah. I can't tell you what's worse than like rushing to a game.
Sure.
As a fan, that's by far yes, I will complain about, 7 o'clock, like 6 o'clock game or, an 8 o'clock game on a weeknight. But I also there's just no good weeknight. It's just one of the unfortunate parts of being a fan. And it's one of my least favorite. I hate it. But I guess it could be worse. It could be weekday. So.
But what I'm saying is those are the weekend games, right? Like those Friday games, those are weekend games. The way that the schedule sees, like when I was at SLU, we played Wednesday, Saturday, man. Like bank it. Like almost all of our games were on Wednesdays and Saturdays in the regular season. That's just how it was. And at the time, we always complained like Saturdays a lot of times because we would have to turn the court over for Blues games that night, so we would have to play at like noon. But noon Saturday is still better than rushing over from work on Friday. So I think your point is valid, not just that like you don't have to say like, oh, any weeknight's tough. It's like, no, those Fridays used to be Saturdays.
Yeah. I would just, I mean, I get why we're putting, Friday 10. I'd really like that New Year's Eve game to be like noon.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would really like it. I think all dudes can agree that game needs to be at noon, just so they have no doubt that they are able to do whatever New Year's Eve stuff.
Right, which in my case is kids stuff, but because I think I'm gonna be in town with my kids that week. So if everything shakes out right, I'll be able to take them to that game, assuming it's an afternoon game. All the more reason I'm excited that it's St. Joe's.
I mentioned to put a pin in the away versus home weeknight weekend thing.
Yeah.
And VCU and Dayton away on weeknights, home on weekends, not ideal. I don't love that. Less chance for Billiken fans to get to UD Arena. Better chance for Dayton fans and VCU fans to get to Chaffetz. Do I like that we're going to sell tickets? Sure, that's great. I just prefer the home court advantage.
Yeah. I mean, Dayton, really, you could leave work at noon on Friday, get to St. Louis, check into your hotel, and still be at the game with plenty of time to spare. So it's an easy trip from this area to St. Louis. So yeah, that it's a very hospitable thing to do. And Zach, that after last year's incident against VCU, we wanted to be as accommodating as possible to get as many VCU fans into Chaffetz's arena as possible, because they're such nice people.
Yeah. No, they're
so easy to get along with.
Yeah, I don't know. That's about all I got for it. I mean, I don't necessarily. There's not much to really go on about. It's a schedule. It's an Atlantic 10 one. It'll be a good time. Well, let's do it. Let's run through the A10 this year, please.
I can't look. I know I'm quibbling with like the lack of opportunities for me to go see them in person, but I can't wait to watch this team. I am a little annoyed that so many games are on national TV when I'm pretty committed to ESPN Plus at this point as being the best way for me to watch a game. So there's that, but I'll figure it out one way or the other.
Some new offers out. There's a lot of new offers out. When did this happen?
5 pretty quietly this week, but I think Gray went on a trip up to the Northeast and gave out quite a few, Zach.
He went with the Oprah offers. You get an offer. You get an offer. Everybody gets an offer.
Went to some open gyms at those Northeast prep schools, and 5 offers later, here we are. The first one, well, I say first I have written down. I don't think they were in this order, but we've got 3 2027s and 2 2028s, right? So guys that are going to be, they're juniors and sophomores. The first one, Pat Oti. He's Brazilian, so I'm going to assume Oti. 6'5" shooting guard from St. Thomas More in Connecticut, and Expressions Elite AAU, which is a Nike EYBL program. Big time scorer. He's the highest level offer in this group. He's efficient on all 3 levels. Great rebounder for a guard. Really controlled game, but he can go off. He's ranked right around number 50 in the country by all major services. So he's a solid 4-star prospect. His other offers right now: Villanova, Creighton, Xavier, Providence, Syracuse, Florida State, Washington, Eastern Washington. So interesting time to get into his recruitment. This is not an easy one, but for whatever reason, they thought it was a reasonable one. So I'll go with it, right? We also offered his AAU and high school teammate, DJ Hawkins, same class, 2027. He's a guard forward, 6'8", long, versatile player. He calls himself a combo guard on his own social media, but he's often listed as like a small forward or a combo forward for scouts. So really, there's four positions right there. He can basically guard or play anywhere. He scores on three levels, gets to the rim. He's got a really long stride and a nice shot blocker too, which is funny for someone who can guard. His other offers right now, Syracuse just came through. Before that, he had Youngstown State, Sacred Heart, and Bryant. So, bit of a late bloomer, but I think his ceiling is super, super high. The other 2027 kid that we offered is a 6'9" forward slash center out of Cushing Academy in Massachusetts named Nate Blenman. He plays for Team New England AAU. Originally from Buffalo, he's actually on his third high school already. Cushing Academy is a very nice, old school elite Northeast academy. So it's a real one. It's not some like weird prep fake school factory sort of thing. So I don't love that he's transferred so much already, but it's at least to a real school. He's a nice two-way post player, very skilled, steady, patient, good post game. He could score, pass out of the post, steps out to shoot. He stretches defenses that way, rebounds hard at both ends, and block shots. So just a really complete looking big man. Other offers so far: St. Bonaventure, Oklahoma State, South Florida, Towson, and Fairfield. And then the two sophomores, Zach. Kyle Delves, 2028, 6'2" combo guard from Mount St. Charles Academy in Rhode Island, Team New England, AAU. Confident, skilled point guard. He plays a much more mature game than someone who hasn't started yet his sophomore season. He makes plays for himself and his teammates off the dribble. Great handles, reliable pull-up jumper, gets to the rim and finishes strong. He's really smart off the ball. And then he's like a tough defender and vocal leader. So he's one of those guys that, he just doesn't look like a sophomore to you. Other offers so far: Fairfield, Manhattan. He seems really excited about the SLU offer. I saw a little interview about it today. Lots of high-level interest, but not many of them have pulled the trigger with offers yet. And then the last one, Malachi Odugbela, is a 6'6" guard slash wing. He can play the 1 to the 3. Goes to St. Andrew's School in Rhode Island, and plays AAU for BABC, which is Boston Area Basketball Club, I think. Very old-timey sounding name. But that's an Adidas AAU program. Good positional size, really smooth, hits a shot off the catch of the dribble, nice handles for his size, surprisingly crafty. SLU's his first offer, but it's early. I think with his size and skills, there's going to be plenty more on the way. But that's it for the new offers this week, Zach. Quite a few, and all up in the Northeast.
We have some sad news to report.
Yeah, especially to our friend Boxing One, who loves crazy names.
Hurley Brutus committed to LSU on Sunday, and I got to say, we didn't want him anyway.
Didn't want him. Yeah. Zach is winking for those just listening.
Talk about this one.
Yeah, it's a bummer, Zach, because we were in his finalists along with LSU, K-State, Gonzaga, Utah, South Florida. I think he only had a couple left to visit. Like, I don't think he had gotten to K-State or Gonzaga yet, if I'm not mistaken, but called it early. He visited LSU a couple weeks ago, visited Utah more recently, and committed to the Tigers. It's definitely a bummer. He's a really good player, solid 4-star, top 75 kid. So he's definitely one that got away. But I do want to say, I've seen a lot of people like, wow, they're swinging and missing a lot. We've only got one commitment. They wanted 3 early commitments. What I'll say is, number one, it's early. The signing period is in November, so we shouldn't be freaking out in late September. There's no reason to be negative so far. We're only going to get a few of these guys. We've been a finalist on a lot of top 150 kids, which is really kind of new territory for SLU to have so many of these. And we're really the most unproven program in most of these groupings. And the other thing I'll say is that so we've had 40 offers out to 2026 players. We may have had a few of those come from Ford. I can't remember, like very early ones, but for the most part, these are shirts offers. It's not an unusual number compared to previous years, and it's not unusual to only have one commitment in late September. That's not the panic button, right? So we had 50 offers go out to 2025 players, a little bit higher because you had Shirts and Ford kind of combined there. 40 back in 2024, only 31 in 23, and 36 in 22. 48 offers to the class of 2021. But tell me what happened between 2019, 2020, and 2021, because in 19 and 20, Zach, we had 70 offers to players in those classes. And then all of a sudden you've got, the pandemic, you've got the COVID bonus years, transfers, NIL, like all this stuff happening like all at once. If you remember that kind of like year and a half period there.
Yeah.
So we go from offering, and this was pretty consistent for Ford, literally 70 players in a class to in the 30s and 40s from there on out. So pretty crazy drop off, but we're already at 40 in this class. That number is going to grow a little bit, not a whole lot, because the recruiting process gets a little bit different over the year. But what I'll say is like it's not time to panic at all.
No, just looking at the numbers, right there, it looks to me like it's a gigantic shift in the rules in the way basketball programs operate, between 20 and 21. And then, it's starting to kind of work its way out. And that's the settling of the COVID bonus year. That's the settling of NIL. We're starting to kind of feel our way out of the Wild West. And that to me, more offers does signify that. However, I'm always concerned. I'm always concerned, Peter.
Yeah, I just don't. I think it's still a little early. We're going to see a couple guys come our way at some point.
Let's see. Women's basketball. A10 schedule is released. With the A10 schedule released, we now have a full schedule. The only non-conference game still in question is who they'd be playing in the MTE in Nashville over Thanksgiving week, and those will be SMU and Stetson. One A10 game in early December, which is odd because it hasn't been done before, and I think they are moving. Are they moving the schedule? Kind of is there a shift happening, or is that some other sport? I think that's NHL. They'll host Bonaventure on December 3rd and kick off the rest of the A10 season on New Year's Eve at Duquesne. At home, they'll have Davidson, VCU, Dayton, Loyola, Richmond, Fordham, St. Joe's, and Duquesne in that order. On the road, after Duquesne, it will be Loyola, LaSalle, Fordham, GW, George Mason, Rhode Island, Dayton, and Davidson, also in that order. A pretty balanced schedule here, Pete.
Yeah, last season and the season before, it felt like, okay, like we had a really front-loaded schedule or a back-loaded schedule, or like, the balance of like better teams that we played at home versus on the road. Like since Tillett's been here, we've had a really kind of off-kilter conference schedule one way or the other. But this year it feels a lot more balanced in terms of like, if you're just looking at last year's performance, net rankings as a guide, it's not front-loaded with all the weaker or stronger teams, and you don't have all the best teams at the end of the year on the road, for example. So after having a few years of imbalanced schedules, I like this better. The problem is I think they're just not very good, is my hunch. So that's what kind of bums me out.
Let's see, where are we talking? Are we ready to talk 2 Men in a Garden here, Pete?
I am, Zach. I'm always ready to talk 2 Men in a Garden, and I know you are too. It is still salsa season. I don't know about St. Louis, but it was in the 80s here in Cincinnati over the weekend. Brutally hot. I still like the summertime snack. I still like the 2 Men in a Garden fruit salsas as that summertime snack, and I've just been tearing through them. Absolutely ripping through those things. The strawberry, the peach, the mango, they're all fantastic. Mango's my favorite, very closely followed by the strawberry. They're great, though. Head on over to 2meninagarden.com. Get some for yourself. You can find them in local retailers as well around the St. Louis area. But if you put a box together, let them know that we sent you over on 2meninagarden.com. Just throw it in the notes, And yeah, so they know that this sponsorship is really working for them. They've been a great supporter for us, and we want to keep supporting them. 2minutegarden.com.
Pete, let's head over to the pitch. Sorry, why do I do that? That's so dumb. The soccer field. I hate that. I hate it.
Why?
It sounds so distant.
Because now you think people think you mean the bar, like the restaurant.
No. I just know. Because I think it's pretentious for someone with an American accent to say the word pitch or kit, or I think it's just disingenuous, man. It's weird. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. I don't judge you. That's my opinion.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk footy.
Jesus Christ. Number 8 in the United Soccer Coaches Poll, number 21 in Top Drawer Soccer, number 14 when the first RPI came out on Friday. Pete, they will not be staying there after a 3-0 loss at Akron Tuesday the 23rd. Yeah, we didn't think it would hold up after Missouri State draw, but that top 10 ranking, nope, is gone. She gone.
Yeah, they're not going to hang on to it this time. I mean, look, Akron's really good, but SLU had given up 3 goals through the first 8 games and then matched it in a single game. That's to me awful. That's a little more dramatic than just losing on the road.
Yeah, this was one of those games, man. SLU just did not have it in this one. 34th minute. 34th minute. You saw it coming. It was going to happen. Akron gets a PK. And then SLU gets robbed of a PK after that. Despite the ref using VAR, I do not know how this was not a foul. Absolutely stunning. It was thigh on thigh. It's just a complete fall. 62nd minute, Akron scores on a strike from the left side of the box to the corner of the net, and then one more to seal the deal in the 67th minute. Top shelf from 7 yards out. Akron outshot the Bills 12-4. Akron outshot them on goal 4-2. Corners 3-1. Fouls, they even played more physical. Just not the Billikens' night.
No, it wasn't, Zach. And tell me whose quote this was. The SLU soccer teams look like it drove to Akron and took the field right off the bus. The Billiken back line looks as lost as that bus driver up in Olean a few years ago.
Yeah, I said that. I said that.
Yeah. So it was just, as you said, not our night, Zach.
No, the number of times in this one, Akron was playing through balls or over the top. Our back line looked like they had no idea that Akron was going to do. They looked like they didn't know that was a thing you could do. Like in semi-pro when they throw the first alley-oop.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe just how off kilter Akron was making SLU. They were on the front foot from kickoff. And the Billikens starting attack in this one played just 24 minutes in that first half. Did not start the second half. We're talking about guys like Di Maria, Franca, Heckenleibel. Kalish did talk about fatigue in the middle of this one. I believe one of the announcers brought up that Kalish had mentioned fatigue and that it was the third game in 7 days. And yeah, I get it. But just not a very good game overall. They looked really bad in this one.
If you're going to play 3 games in 7 days, you want that third one to be at home. This is a team that had not played many road games this season. So this one all along, like ever since I saw it on the schedule, I was just like, that's a really tough game right in the middle of the year there. The only, they had played at Duquesne right before that, but the only other non-conference road game they played was at Indiana. And those games were, between those were stretches of 3 or 4 home games at a time. So just not favorable the way this one was set up. But still, this loss was rough.
It didn't get better until about 56 minutes into the LaSalle game on homecoming on Saturday the 27th, Pete.
Yeah, this was a 2-1 win, Zach, on that day. But luckily, or I guess I should say, unfortunately, it took a while, like you said, to get going, right?
And was nearly snatched from
That's
us.
right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
I say
Um,
us. What am I talking about?
so LaSalle did get on the board first in that 56 minute, but it was pretty quick that Slew got back at him right after a no call that looked like a LaSalle handball in the box. Sam Coughlin,
That was a 1,000% a handball.
yeah, I thought so too. I don't know how they got away with that, but Sam Coughlin played a ball forward. Theo Franca sent it in with a diving header. It was a really nice.
I mean, this was
nice
world
finish.
class. It was world class.
Great. It was a nice arcing ball in. Franca dove right, like head first into it, knew what to do with it. It's great. It's probably their best goal.
That's one of those you see. You don't realize how often you come close to that happening because it's just nobody, like, it doesn't happen often.
No,
you
don't see it often, especially for a team that doesn't have much scoring flair. To see them,
they showed it in this one after the 56th minute.
They did, yeah. Franca had a good head ball opportunity in the first half, so it was great to see him finish this one because I actually thought that was a lot more straightforward head ball opportunity. That he was in great position and just didn't get a good head on it. 77th minute though, Zach, we got another one.
Yeah, Kareem Pari, he played a dangerous ball back to the middle from the end line next to the goal. Nick Schramm they got deflected, right? It took a deflection on its way into the middle, out to Nick Schramm. He had the time and space. And I mean, this is what you do with one of those. This is the shot you take. It is hard. It is low. It is at the net because I mean, the reaction time is just not, you have so many places to shoot from a short distance out and just hammer it.
Yeah.
And that's what he did here. And it's in the back of the net. Carlos Leatherman gets the assist on the goal. Pete, I want to jump ahead with 2 minutes left to go in this game. LaSalle's given a PK after a review, which they didn't even go back and review that handball. Figure that one out.
Right, I know.
So LaSalle's given a PK, and at this moment I was sitting opposite of the press box where the Billikens were attacking. And at this point, with like 2 minutes to go, I'm like, all right, I'm going to start walking towards and watch the game as I get to the corner of the stadium and then finish watching it there. So as I'm walking down the side, like in front of the bleachers, I see Carlos Tofern walking by. Like after Jeremy Abenel had just saved, made an incredible save on a PK, I see Tofern walking on the other side of the field. Like the guy who should be like, I am assuming that he ran back behind the goal to deliver some sort of scouting report.
Sure.
Which is incredible to get there in time. But yeah, what a save here, Pete.
It was fantastic. He went, I guess if you're facing the goal, he went bottom left. So it was to Abenel's right. And he read it from the start. He reacted perfectly. And then they were able to clear it. Really, really fortunately. You know, that's always the scary thing after saving a PK, right? Is you usually get a pretty good ricochet there and a chance for a rebound. But Slew got it out. So just great from start to finish. Whatever Tofern said, we'll take it.
It was a wild finish after that. I thought the Billikens played outstanding defense with the clock running down. I thought that it was just really strong defense. The cards started coming out. LaSalle got one right after the PK miss. Then Paris got one a minute later, both for dissent. However, then we get to the fight, the brawl,
the main
which
event.
Again, the only weird thing, like the only thing that I thought that was like that exceeded, um, civil, I don't know, whatever the rules of the game, like players left the bench.
Yeah.
So that was really the only thing. But again, it's the end of the game, right? It wasn't, in the middle of the clock running down. So
Right.
it was very strange. But yeah. Chavi O'Neal and Sophus Ulrich were giving reds for fighting during that scuffle.
Yeah, those were the only two red cards where it really was a brawl. The way that I had written it up initially without having seen it or realized that it was going to become a Fox 2 news story was I just put there was some pushing and shoving beyond those two, right? Like, so they were the ones that took the fall, that got the red cards. But yeah, I don't know, Zach. It's we said earlier, I don't know how this became much more of a story, but here we are.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about this weekend and the Billiken soccer team this year. But first, the shots were 11-6, shots on goal 7-3, corners 5-3, fouls 11 apiece. This team, I don't. What really bothered me was that they kind of just didn't appear to be going towards goal until LaSalle got on the board. And then it seemed like they were doing it at their will.
Right.
And so what the hell?
Yeah, you called it risk averse soccer, just aimless balls placed outside. And the other thing, Zach, is when you play like that, you're a little bit easier to figure out, right? Like when you don't have I can't remember how you worded it, but we just don't have that guy, that killer who's just like going to go get you a goal.
Yeah.
And without that creativity and that aggressiveness, you get scouted. So it's not that surprising when you lack that element in the attacking third that all of a sudden you go up to Akron and they seem to know exactly what you're doing and they seem to know exactly how to beat you. It's caught up with them.
Yeah. It's one of those things where like you watched the early in that game on Saturday night and you saw I don't know how many times they just played it out wide on a like almost outside of the foot pass out on the wing, and it's like and they with no intention of getting to the box and getting ahead on the ball. It just seemed like it wasn't there was no interest in going forward. And yes, that might be a simplistic view based on tactics and whatever, but it just seems like a little more aggression. And a little more, go for the goal. Screw it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would rather us go for the goal and give one up than play a draw for 75 minutes and give up a goal.
Yeah.
And then try to have to claw your way back to a win against a dog shit LaSalle team. That's like, you're at home. Like, get on the front foot and stay on the front foot.
Right.
Anyway, next up will be the Arch Baron Cup on the soccer field, Saturday, October 4th, here at Herman Stadium. Dayton was picked to win the Atlantic 10 this season and was number 12 in the preseason rankings, but they are just 3-1-5 overall, 2-0-1 in conference play. They have wins over St. Joe's, Davidson, and a good Western Michigan team. However, they lost to a ranked UNC Greensboro and tied Detroit, Temple, Oakland, Evansville, and VCU. That's a lot of draws, Pete.
A lot of draws. But last season they beat SLU 4-1 in Dayton.
No, SLU. They did beat SLU. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and then they beat them again 3-0 in the A10 tournament on their home turf. So we had a hard time going there last year. They beat Michigan in the NCAA tournament before getting knocked out by SMU. They are coming off a win. They just beat, I believe, Davidson. So maybe they're riding the ship here in conference. The win was pretty. I want to say it was like a 4-1 win. So maybe we're just catching them when when they're kind of working their way out of whatever funk they were in. But they've only lost one game, right? This was a preseason ranked team. They've only lost one game. This is a really tough assignment, and it's going to be an interesting test for SLU. The SLU's played, I think, better teams this season, but we've saw them. The way that they played against LaSalle was not the most convincing.
Women's soccer, Pete. They finished this week with 2 wins. Both of them 2-1 wins. The first one was at VCU Thursday the 25th, 16th minute. Lucy Schwartz slotted a PK to the bottom right corner of the net. It was awarded from a handball in the box. 40th minute, Addie Brosder from Caroline Chire. They reviewed it for offsides, but it said, I thought it was offsides, Pete.
Yeah, may very well have been, but they looked at it with VAR, right? Which I thought they kind of overused in the first half. They used it a lot in the first half of this game.
Pete, we've got to come up with a challenge system. It's got to be a challenge system.
Yeah. It takes forever.
That, and if a team wants something reviewed, they should be able to ask for it.
Yeah.
Like the handball against LaSalle. Like there's no reason that shouldn't have been looked at. It was close.
Yeah.
At worst,
challenge system is right. Yep.
44th minute, VCU got one back when the Billiken defender misplayed it. I don't know who that was, to be honest with you. There was no scoring in the second half. VCU did not get a single shot and didn't threaten at all. Aside from 2 corner kicks, the Billikens had the lion's share of chances and 7 shots in the second half, but nothing too dangerous. Billikens had 18 shots to VCU's 5, 7 shots on goal to VCU's 3, corners 7 aside, and then 11-5 VCU led in that category. They got some strange calls in the first half. But I do think VCU did. I thought they got the home cooking. But I do think this is one of those games for this young Billiken team that's very, very talented where, the first half takes some growing into the game and maybe not being quite ready for the moment. And then, the second half, they really put it together. Maybe they don't score, a plethora of goals, but they still dominate and they still come away with 3 points.
Yeah, and we're going to see a similar arc here in a minute. But yeah, I agree, Zach. I think in the second half, it almost felt like a correction to the first. The ref all of a sudden was letting a lot of physicality go, not reviewing anything. So it may have just been a corrective there. SLU had 2 yellows in the game to 1 for VCU. The first one on Hope Kim was questionable, again, with the strange first half officiating. But Audrey Smith definitely earned that second yellow for SLU in the second half.
Shame on you, Audrey.
It was a good foul. She broke up a play, so I was fine with it. But
Professional 2-1 foul.
Another 2-1 win, Zach, on the road at George Washington on Sunday the 28th.
Yeah.
And like you said, a younger team sometimes has to grow into the game. There was no scoring in the first half, and then early in the second from the run of play, but they delivered it from the corner, basically. It looked like a corner kick. GW settled the lob in. It was 2-on-2 right in front of the net. One of their players just kind of managed to poke it through the crowd. It was a soft goal, ugly goal. Frustrating goal, but what I liked, Zach, was the way that SLU responded. 3 minutes later, Hannah Larson and Lucy Schwartz forced a turnover. It was in their attacking end, but pretty close to midfield, like just a few yards in front of the circle there. Larson took a couple dribbles, found Hope Kim coming in from the wing. Kim just very coolly slotted it home. Really, really nice goal. I like this goal a lot because it just like they looked determined. They took it. It's you love it. Yeah, I really like that one. 67th minute, Larson shot from a tough angle, took a little deflection off of Addie Brosder into the net. And that would be it for scoring in this game, Zach. GW got some dangerous chances late in this game, kind of sweating bullets there, but I think most of their shots on goal came in that stretch. Luckily, they don't have a lot of dangerous shot takers, but they did have some chances there. Overall, shots were 23-15 in SLU's favor, a bigger number than you'd like to see from GW. Shots on goal were 9-6. Corners were 9-4 in SLU's favor. And then SLU had 8 fouls to GW 6. I would say it was a pretty clean game. The players looked really tired, especially late. It looked hot. There were multiple hydration breaks throughout the game. I think those GW chances shots on goal were just a fatigued team hanging on after a long week on the road. So understandable from a young team, but yeah, certainly had some nervous moments. That's right.
This team it's not happening in dominating fashion for them, Pete. That's something we've gotten used to. We've been spoiled by in recent years.
Yep, absolutely. So we're not seeing it the same way, but that's just two road wins in a row they got there, Zach, in the last week, both by 1 goal. Yeah. Still getting it done. The season record, quietly, they're up to 8-2-1, 3-0-0 in A10 play, and they just went unbeaten September. I want to say just 1 tie to go with all their winning in September. So they're just going to have to work harder in the league this year. They're going to have to get better, like you just said. It's not going to come as easy.
Now, next up, it'll be Thursday, October 2nd against LaSalle here in St. Louis, and then they'll head to Philadelphia. Sunday the 5th at St. Joe's. LaSalle's 5-4-1, 2-1-0 in conference, and has won 2 straight. St. Joe's is 3-7-1, 0-3, losing 3 straight. Last season, the Billikens tied the Hawks 1-1 in the regular season, and then beat the Hawks 2-0 in the conference tournament. SLU beat LaSalle 4-1 in the regular season. Pete, over to volleyball. I think we can kind of boy, just a really bad week for SLU volleyball, unfortunately. A 3-1 loss at George Mason Friday the 26th, 21-25, 25-22, 18-25, and 20-25. Ellie Rink, 15 kills, 10 digs, and an ace. Chloe Mon, 14 digs, 4 assists. Jetta Brenning, 34 assists, 8 digs, 2 aces. This is a game where I did not feel that SLU was out. I thought this was an even match. I don't really know what happened here. George Mason was not very good. SLU was not good either. I thought SLU probably should have taken this to 5 sets at least.
Yeah.
If not 1. I don't understand. And it makes the next result even more shocking.
It really does, Zach, because not only were they swept 3-0 at George Mason on Saturday the 27th, but that first set, 9 Billiken points. 9 to go, obviously, for 25 with George Mason. 20-25 in the second, 17-25 in the third. Probably the less said about this, the better. But the second set was tied at 18 before Mason went on a late run. Otherwise, this was just an ass kicking from start to finish. SLU was out hit 333 to .097. Brenning had a career high 7 kills to go with 18 assists. Olivia Bronner led SLU with 11 digs. Ermac Goksen, I struggle with her name, I'm sorry, had 8 kills and 3 block assists. But yeah, just not the start to the conference season you wanted, Zach. There's going to be growing pains for this young team, though.
It is Gochin.
Yeah,
it's like Goshen over on the MCT, the Goshen Trail, but Gochin.
Okay, is that Turkish?
It's like Ralphie May would say Ochin. That was his joke.
Yeah. Okay. Turkish.
R.I.P.
Bursa, Turkey.
Yeah. R.I.P. Ralphie May. By the way.
Oh yeah. I never like followed him that close.
Oh man. No, I didn't either, but I mean, just like every time they would come up, very funny.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, not a good start to the conference season. Next up, the Billikens will be visited by VCU for the Pink Games for breast cancer awareness on October 3rd and 4th. VCU is 3-7-1, despite being picked to finish second in the league. It's a good team. They've had a tough schedule. It's been disappointing so far. I feel like that's kind of been like a recurring theme with VCU volleyball.
Yeah, and then they end up finishing second or third, by the end of the year. in the league.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd really like to beat VCU. I don't know what happened to SLU this weekend. Maybe it's a young team, but only scoring 9 points in a set is I can't. It's hard to fathom.
Right.
Let's see. Field hockey, Pete. 4-0 loss against VCU. This, it's a tough one.
Yeah, this was on Friday the 26th. It was the homecoming game. VCU scored twice in the second quarter, once in the third and once in the fourth. Shots were 19-7 in the Rams' favor. They were actually even in the second half after a pretty lopsided first half. Shots on goal were 11-3 and corners were 12-2. This game featured a surprising amount of VAR that, again, dragged it on and on and on. But VCU won this game 7-0 last year at their place, so seems like progress.
Wait, there was VAR in this game?
Yes, there was. Which you were like, I didn't know that would happen in field hockey, but I don't know if they're calling it VAR. I don't know what, but they definitely reviewed a couple things.
I had it on while I was working, so I must have missed that. Yeah. 4-1 win at Maryville Sunday the 28th, and I baked it this one. Oh my God, was it hot?
I am still like trying to get my temperature down from my son's soccer game.
Like, look at this.
Yeah, I see your little pink under the cap.
Oh my God. Yeah. Bryn Newborn got the Bills on the board first with her first goal of the season, but Maryville answered just 18 seconds later. Olivia Smith got the Billikens back up 2-1 as they head into halftime on a penalty stroke, and this was a mad scramble in the area and in the circle. Usually I'm the one that knows these things, but yeah, it was it was wild. Right on the stroke of halftime. I mean, she called that with 1 second to play, and then it was basically like an untimed down of a penalty stroke,
right?
And then halftime, dude. This women's field hockey team has so much weird shit happen to it. It is outrageous. It is outrageous. In the first half, one of the officials apparently went down up against the back netting, up against the storage and the concession stand, that area. On the opposite side of where I was, and then got up and looked unsteady, and they finished the half, and then they stood around, and players came back, players ran across the field, ran back, trying to stay loose. I won't say warm because holy shit, it was hot. And it took probably 35 minutes, halftime, 40 minminutes. They had to get a new ref out apparently. But Maryville's I was going to talk about Maryville's general sporting facilities. It's really nice, but Smith got her fifth goal of the season in the third quarter. Shia Dry got SLU's fourth off an assist from Macy Budd. So if you're playing at home, that's Bud Dry.
Well done.
Yeah. I did that on Twitter earlier and nobody said anything, so I had to bring it to this. I was kind of upset about that.
I got to catch up on Twitter, but that's a subtle one, Zach. That's a subtle one.
39 shots for the Billikens to Maryville 6. Shots on goal 27-5. Corners were 15-3 Billikens, and I'm going to tell you I don't believe that at all, because I believe that they had at least 12 in the third quarter alone. And then they also didn't have one for halfway through the fourth, which was, It was wild.
This is one I didn't watch it, but I had the game tracker on while I was watching the end of the women's soccer game.
Yeah.
And that's when I was kind of like, wow, it's been halftime forever. So I just assumed there was a glitch with the box score.
What other game was that? What other game did that happen in? Baseball. They did that. That got me on a delay one day. I just kept refreshing it, and I couldn't get any updates. No Twitter, nothing. And I was like, "What is happening? Like, did the game turn?" And it was rain delay.
Yeah.
Nobody told me. It's awesome.
Right.
Next up, they will head to Richmond October 3rd. Then they host UC Davis on Sunday the 5th. Richmond's one of the better teams in this league. They are in the top half, 5-4, 2-0. Beat Lock Haven 8-0 in their A10 opener. They won 2-1 at LaSalle. They're coming off a 3-2 loss at Temple. UC Davis is 4-5. I think it's a game that the Billikens can win.
Yeah, they faced a few common opponents, beating Bellarmine 2-1, losing to Ohio 2-1, and beating Ball State 5-4. So this should be a really interesting litmus test. This seems like a grouping of teams that are all kind of, relatively close. So, I'm really curious to see what SLU does in that one.
Cross country, Pete. The Gans Creek Classic, Columbia, Missouri, Friday the 26th. The women finished 9th in the Black Division, in the 6K Black Division. Emily Morden, Emery Mayfield, and Renee Ballard finished 59th, 62nd, 68th. Out of 236, men finished 21st in the 8K Black Division. Manny Vela finished 50th of 260. The only SLU runner to finish in the top 100, sorry. John Bell said, "We struggled as a program this weekend. These were not the results we wanted. Definitely not ready to hit the panic button, but we as a team need to take a close look at this weekend and learn from it." There were a few highlights to take away from the day, though. For the men, Vela, Brown, Huggins, and Murphy all ran their best 8Ks. Renee Ballard once again ran a great race for the women, running under 22 minutes in the 6K for the first time ever. They head back to Columbia for the third time this season for the pre-national invitational on October 18th. Swimming and diving.
Swimming diving season, Zach, snuck up on me. I was not ready for it to be. I really think of it as a winter.
Is that because we don't have a coach?
There's that too, but it was just like, oh, we're swimming. Like, and it's like the thick of the season is starting all of a sudden. I always forget how early it is. But the season opener was against WashU on Saturday the 27th. The women won 143.5 to 137.5. Megan Eng and Tierney Cole each won 2 individual events. 100 and 200 backstroke for Eng, and then the 200 IM and 200 breaststroke for Cole. The men lost 172 to 103. Bray Sanchez was the only double winner there in the 100 and 200 breaststroke. Zach, on Thursday the 2nd, they will face UMSL, and then they head to the IU Indy Invite on Saturday the 4th. So, like I said, we went from I didn't know it was swimming and diving season to now 3 meets in 7 days here. So they're busy.
Yeah, I really think that I think I've said this before too. I think swimming and diving really informs what SLU should be focusing on outside of men's basketball. No, and I'm not going to say that. I don't know if I agree with that. Not what they should be focusing on. I think it's very, very obvious that SLU has a major educational programs that cater more towards female students, and I think these women's teams, they outperform the men most of the time. I just think I don't think there's any reason we shouldn't be able to put a competitive field hockey team on the pitch. I don't think there's a reason we should, anything women's, like even the tennis is better on the women's side.
Yeah,
it's easier to recruit. But anyway, that's it. That's a little side note that I didn't really need to take before we log off. Pete, that's gonna do it. Go Bills, man.
Go Bills.